Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about toxic people, how to recognize them, what to do if you are in a relationship with a toxic person, whether it be your partner or your sibling or your family or just a friend or someone you work with. The only person who can look after you or who will look after you is you. And it's important that we don't spend our lives trying to please others when it's a detriment to ourselves, because we can't reach our fullest potential and we can't be our happiest self if we're constantly trying to make someone else happy. Sometimes that's an impossible task. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my toxic relationship and why I have come to make this video. I have a toxic family member, and it's a family member I spend a lot of time helping and being kind to, and they hurt me. And it took me a long time to realize that it wasn't a two-way street in the relationship. Also, this person hurt me a lot, not just in one situation, not just in one instance, not just in one thing, but many times throughout the relationship. Every life event and happy moment of my life was filled with angst. I was constantly fighting against somebody trying to make that situation about them. Instead of celebrating with them, I was constantly butting heads with them and trying to bring things back into my control, whether it be a wedding or buying a house or starting a business or just generally any situation. And you know, when you have family events and things, always the focus is drawn to something else, not on what the family event is, whether it be a funeral or a birthday. You know, it was always constantly being pulled towards that person. That person can't make it at that time. That person wouldn't do it that way. That person this, that person that. And sometimes you just feel like saying, it's not about you. They couldn't be happy for me at all, or anybody for that matter, but mostly for me. She actually told somebody in my family that we were constantly competing, which I was really surprised to hear, because this person is a decade and a half older than me. So if they're competing with somebody who is just starting out adult life, they're not really winning, are they? They're not really entering a fair competition. So I don't know why they thought that way. I have never thought that in my life because they're so much older than me, but apparently that was a thing, that I was in a competition I didn't even know existed. That's another thing, you know, they're always competing with you, always got to be right. It's a very hard relationship to be in, and it's very taxing. I had to forgive this family member many times during our relationship for different things and different events that took place, but every time, because that person wasn't sorry or didn't say they're sorry, I actually withdrew myself from the relationship a little bit more each time, whether it be not talking to them on the phone every day, it might have been every second day, and then it would be not offering to do things together, not seeing each other, being busy when they want to see you. So I just withdrew myself quite a bit over the span of our relationship, but it was all very intense at one stage. And then a couple events happened where I just thought, this is not a healthy relationship. One of the hardest things they say is to forgive somebody who's not sorry, and I had to do that a lot of times. I'm still working on that. It's still something that I have to deal with whenever I think about the situation, but I did forgive them a lot of times. I did actually point out a lot of times how painful it was for people when somebody has no ability to say sorry or take any responsibility in any situation. And I explained how painful that is for people, but there was just silence. Even in situations where we had a little argument or something where it was very clearly something that she'd done, a mistake that she just wasn't accepting, she would just have nothing to say. And then she would just, if you brought it up, she would just cry. She would never say sorry. She would never say it was her fault. She couldn't admit to herself she was wrong, so she'd just cry. It was a really bizarre thing, and you couldn't have a two-way conversation about it because they just were never wrong. And it just ate away at the relationship until there was no trust left. Okay, so as you can see from what I've been saying about my relationship, it's obvious to me now that I was in a toxic relationship. It wasn't a two-sided relationship. I was on the giving end and they were on the receiving end. And basically, I took to the internet to find out what was going on, how do I deal with this situation. I found a website that was very helpful to me. I'll put that in the description below, the website that I got this information from, but I'm just going to go through some points about how to recognize if you're in a toxic relationship and what to do. Hopefully you will not get as hurt or as deep into the relationship as I did, or maybe you're so deep in you just don't know what to do. Let's go through some of those things now. I just wanted to also say that if this is something that is really affecting your life to the point where you don't see a future on the other side, please contact the Lifeline on 13 11 14. Although watching YouTube videos can help you with a lot of your things, it's really important to know that this is not the only way that you can get help. And if you do call that number, they will find somebody to see you or to talk to you or to help you in some way. Okay, so this is a hard point to discuss, and that is their intentions. A toxic person's intentions may not be bad. They may care about you, they might have good intentions, which is what their whole thought process is. I care about them, I'm doing it for them. But in actual fact, their needs and their way of existing in this world causes other people to compromise. If somebody is purposely or not purposely affecting you in a negative way, you have to prioritize your mental and physical health, because let's face it, no one else will, so you need to protect yourself. Passive aggression is a veil of toxicity. This means their negative behavior is also used instead of just their words. So for example, actions and words are two different things, and they can both be used in a negative or toxic way. Bullying is another tactic to get you into submission. They believe that their thoughts, ideas, values, and opinions are correct, and everybody else's should align. Bullying can even be pushing just what they think. It basically causes them to squish who you are to make themselves feel bigger and better. If you do something well, they have to do something better. If they feel like you're going well in something, they either try to squash whatever that is, make it seem insignificant, like you don't deserve it, like you haven't done the work for it, all of these things to make themselves feel better. Oh, woe is me, I didn't get this opportunity and you did. It's just one of those situations where everything you do is either not well earned or they didn't get it, so you're not worthy of it either. It's a real selfish and toxic way to view the world. So if you know somebody who's doing that to you, maybe you should reassess how important you are to that person. Most people in life don't get handouts, they don't get hand up, they don't get an inheritance or inherit something or a house or all of those things. They have to work really hard for everything they get. But especially with my toxic person, I should have been entitled to this, I should have been entitled to that. They think that the world owes them, when in actual fact, it doesn't. You never get anything for free. Even if you get something, most cases it comes with a price. So most things in life, unless you're Paris Hilton, is not free. So get over it. I'm totally guilty of this one, but another major point to do is not tiptoe around their bad behavior. Making excuses for their constant drama and negativity and oh, this poor person only makes it worse, because then they come back and they get the attention that they so badly want, and they just keep doing it until it pretty much takes over your life. It just doesn't end well. If your toxic person is over the age of 21, they should be able to deal with normal situations. I'm not saying people can't have bad days. I have bad days myself. But I'm just saying if they can't deal with day-to-day life things, they're not reliable, they're not reasonable, they can't be spoken to in a way which you can agree to disagree or to resolve problems within your relationship, then that person has a problem. They are a toxic person. They need to sort out what is going on, because it's not your position to fix it. You can't fix it. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It just doesn't work. You do not have to neglect yourself because the toxic person does. So another thing that is quite common when you're in a toxic relationship is staying up at night thinking, oh, I can't believe she did that. Why is she doing this? Am I a bad person? This can go on for days, weeks, months, or even years. You can't control what they do. My toxic person will be out there somewhere thinking, poor me, this has happened to me, and will be telling anybody who can listen. And if there isn't a story to tell about what's so bad, she'll just make one up. Although if toxic behavior does become physical, this is a legal matter and you need to talk to somebody about it. It is not okay. You need to either speak to the police or a counsellor and get assistance straight away. Luckily for me, that wasn't the case for me, but if it is for you, you need to get help straight away. I took her behavior personally, but you shouldn't. And I've come to realize now that all of this has come to light and it's all exploded, that actually the behavior is not directed just to me. After hearing other people or thinking about situations in the past, even 10 years ago, whatever situations that person has been in, I realized that they actually do this to everybody. One stage or another, it comes to that stage. Whether it be in 20 years, 10 years, at some point, every person realizes that person is a toxic person. How long it takes them to get there? For me, it was quite a while. Hopefully for you, it doesn't take very long and you move on with a healthy and happy life. Gandhi said, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. Hating them is only hurting you. We need to work towards not hating them, but living peacefully knowing that relationship ended, whether the relationship is still going on but in a different, more guarded way, or whether you've found a way to make it balance. Whatever it is, it's important that we realize hating somebody else only hurts us. And the best way to get revenge is to live a happy and good life. There is a chance this may apply to you, that down the track, there may come a time in your relationship where this person grows to the point where you can repair or patch your relationship and you can continue on. If it's a parent or something and you really value them and want them in your life despite the drama and the negativity, where you can come to a point where you agree, okay, we're going to talk to you about you during these times, we're going to focus on me during these times and not let it cross over. You can come up with plans and things like that, so that your relationship has boundaries and you can actually move forward and not let it completely damage and sever your relationship. Sadly though, all you can do is let go for good. Decide not to let their actions and opinions constantly invade your life and your mind. Above all, you can choose whom you walk with into the future and who you leave behind in yesterday. It's important that you make the decision. In my toxic relationship, I tried a level of different things. Unfortunately, things got so bad to the point where she was actually sabotaging my career and just generally my life. And it came to the point where I realized I've done this before, I've had these problems before, it's not going to change. It doesn't matter what I do, it's not up to me to change, it's up to her. So I have severed that relationship, and since then I have had no drama, no negativity. I'm just living a happy life and I have good relationships, life events, birthdays, Christmases. There's never a problem. Everybody's happy, everybody's laughing, and just generally life is good. So you need to make that decision for you, like I had to for me. And believe me, I know it's hard, especially when it is a family member, but it is important that we look after ourselves. It takes a long time to deal with the disappointment of being betrayed continuously by somebody in your life, especially when it's a family member or someone who's meant to love you, meant to care for you, meant to look after you. And it's really sad when you have to let that go. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for coming back to my channel and I'll see you in my next video. Have a good day.